The video that you're about to watch, I actually posted a long while ago, and it didn't get much traction at first, but then all of a sudden it started getting a lot of traction. Not viral by any means, but a lot of people started looking into this. It's just how to build your water-fed system from scratch. So I'm trying to make this more available because there were a lot of comments that came that were great, but there were a few comments that I just wanted to address. Some people were worrying about where the links are in the description down below. They'll be there in the description for this as well, but I'm also going to have a QR code right there that you can check that out. You can just scan the code with your phone or something like that. I will also tell you right now, the link is in the description. So if you're looking for that, there it is. There was also this problem. Yeah, so a lot of you were wondering where I got my cart. So I'll tell you right now, there is no good answer for where you can get a cart like mine right now. I do recommend a couple of things. There's a Milwaukee 600-pound cart that you can get on Amazon. I'll also have that down in the description as well, that link. The problem is I actually got my cart from someone who took apart his pre-built system to put it in his truck. And he was just like, hey, I have this cart left over. And that was kind of the spark that I needed to get this system actually built. I needed a place to put it. So that was great. It worked out really great for me. I was able to strap everything on there, but you're not going to have that exact same thing. I also wanted to thank everyone so much for all of your support, even using my links, because I do get a tiny little commission from Amazon every time you click those and go through and buy something. It doesn't come from your end. Amazon is just rewarding for sending traffic. With that being said, check out the rest of the video. Let's get started. So your typical water-fed system is going to have 3 stages. Some have 4, but we're just going to be dealing with the 3-stage one right now. And honestly, adding a 4th stage is super simple. You're just going to need a couple more fittings and another one of these guys, very likely, to get that set up for yourself. But the 3 stages generally are a carbon filter, this guy here, and this is a little Slimline 10 by 2 inch by 10 by 2.5 inch Slimline sediment filter. Your reverse osmosis, which is this big guy here. And then last but not least, sorry, got hoses everywhere here. Last but not least, this guy here. This is your DI resin chamber. And what this is going to do is going to polish off that last little bit. So these each have 3 different specific tasks. So this cleans out a lot of your chlorine. Chlorine is something that eats your RO. So you want to make sure that you have all that out by the time it gets to your RO. Once it gets to your RO, you're going to be taking all the salts out, or almost all the salts out. That's going to get you some pretty close to sparkling clean water. But if you're like me and you have really hard water, you're going to need a little bit more than that. Some of you guys will actually be able to get away with just doing the DI, but for a lot of us, that's not an option, especially in the south here with bad water. So this takes out almost all of it, and then this polishes off the last little bit. The DI, it actually pulls out the rest to bring you down to zeros on your TDS meter. So to give you an example, my water from the garden hose comes out at about 500 TDS. That's really high. So what this does, this doesn't take it down very far. This little carbon filter doesn't take it down very far, if it takes it down at all. But it gets that chlorine out, which is the most important part for this. This, as water comes in it, there's water that gets sent through the filter and other water that gets pushed past. And what it does is it actually cleans as it filters. So it cleans the RO as it's filtering water through. So that brings it, so after our 500 TDS goes through this thing, what ends up happening is we end up with about 40 or 30 TDS left in the water, which is pretty awesome. This guy, it can take care of a lot on its own, but this is the part that gets expensive if you're not careful. This is protecting this from getting too much stuck in it. Your DI is going to be one of the most expensive parts of this system in the long run. So you want to make sure that as little as possible of your salts that are in your water get to this point. So this is protecting this, and this is full of water and getting you wet, but this is protecting this. So you see the relationship between the three of them there. So let's start with our first stage. So our first stage is, of course, our carbon filter, because we want to protect everything else in the line. This carbon filter, we're going to try to make sure that you have the right link for the same thing, because we want to make sure that all our fittings match up correctly. Now, these guys are going to come with a standard NPT thread. That's just standard in the pipe threading there, so you're gonna want to make sure you remember that. The reason is because we're also going to be dealing with garden hose connections, and garden hose connections and your NPT are not the same thing. I promise you they are not. So if you try to screw it on and it seems like it's going, please stop, because you're going to break something. They really do feel like they go together, but they're not. So just keep that in mind. This itself is NPT. This, what you're going to put in it, we'll start from this side and go this way. So this is a garden hose quick connect. You can find these on Amazon. Pretty sure I have them linked in the document I gave you. This is just the male end of the quick connect. This, on the other side of this, like I have it screwed in here, is also male, but it's actually garden hose connection, GHT. But again, you'll be able to figure this out just when you buy it, and you're going to pull it out and be like, oh, that's the piece that he's talking about. That goes into that. This part here, this is a female garden hose connection, GHT again, female garden hose to male 3/4 NPT. So that's when it gets into the actual filter here, filter housing. So you have male quick connect to male GHT to female garden hose GHT to male NPT 3/4 inch. The other side of this is going to be almost the opposite. So you're going to have the 3/4 inch NPT that's sticking in here, that's a male. The other side of it is male garden hose GHT. So I hope that makes sense, but I have garden hose quick connect to garden hose to NPT to NPT to garden hose. And this is just how I like to use it. I like to have a garden hose connected to this, so that's super simple to quick connect and not. You may find that you want to do some other kind of material for your hose. I've seen some guys on some of the professional ones. Sometimes they use PEX. So you can find something that'll go into this. Just find whatever works, as long as you're staying with the NPT in and NPT out. You should be good. Again, this side goes to the hose on the wall. This side's going to your machine. On this side, so this is actually a two-sided female garden hose. I had to make it myself. You can find these parts at Home Depot or anything like that. Then I have this guy here. This is, you get to actually see what the male garden hose quick connect looks like. It's just this. So male garden hose to male quick connect for garden hose. So there you have it. That's your first stage. Now for the second stage, we have two parts. So 2 parts of video here. Let's see if I can't break my camera here. So let's first show you how this goes together. So I have my hose. I started with the hose over there for the last video. So my hose comes into this. It goes this way, circulates through here, is able to filter out all the chlorine. And then this part goes into here.
So you guessed it, this is the other half of this quick connect. So this is garden hose quick connect. This is the female side of it. On the other end of this, I'm not going to take it off because I have everything nice and taped. On the other end of this is a male garden hose connector, and that goes to a male 3/4 NPT again. So everything, all your filters are going to be NPT rather than garden hose. And again, as you put this together, you'll see what you like, you'll see what you don't like, and you may decide that you don't want to do garden hose for this. I just use this because it's super easy to attach, super easy to pull apart, saves me room in the car, just all that. So this is female quick connect, and of course the other end of this is a the other end of this is garden hose connection. Then this down here that goes into the RO here, this is a male garden hose, GHT, on the top, and then underneath it's male NPT 3/4 inch. This right here, please pay no attention to this. I use this particularly for if I have a lot of pressure built up in here and I want to release some of that pressure. That's likely not something that you're going to want to do. So this, you can either have this, it's just a 1/2 inch ball valve, 1/2 inch NPT ball valve. Funny thing about this, the inlet water on the RO, the inlet water goes through a 3/4 inch NPT, the outlet, which is a center tap, that is 1/2 inch. So just be mindful of that as you're going through things, because some things may not look right if you don't pay attention to that little fact. This I may soon actually replace with a plug instead of having a valve here, because I find that although I really thought I was going to be using this a lot to release pressure, I don't. So to keep things out of the way, keep less edges for something to catch on, I'm probably going to replace this right here, this center tap, with a plug. That's the first part of the second stage. And just a quick tip, after I made that last video there, I realized that I had not capped this little guy. So this is the top still. So I made a little quick connect and garden hose cap, and for transport, it's plugged. So this is the second half of the second stage. If you remember from before, the center tap is always going to be 1/2 inch NPT on this guy. The outer tap is going to be 3/4 inch NPT. So I'll walk you through each of these hoses. First of all, this hose that comes out the center, that's going to be your clean water. Remember, the water, it goes out and around the RO inside, or the membrane. It gets sunk into the center of it, and then this is the center tap down here where you actually get your water from. So this is my good water. It's going to go to the DI over there, so down here, this guy. So what I do to get it there is very simple. I have just a piece that's making it come off the RO a little bit further. What it is, it's a 1/2 inch NPT 45-degree extension, basically. So it's male on the side that goes in here, female on the side that comes out here. It's just to get it away from this cap, because I was having issues with this and this hitting each other. I couldn't turn that sometimes because of all this different stuff. So you may run into that. This is how I figured that out, and it works fine. Just have that little 45-degree angle out, and that is also in the instructions I gave you. The other thing is this guy here. So this is 1/2 inch NPT that goes 90 degrees into a 1/2 inch inner diameter hose barb. So you'll see that when you're searching for it online, 1/2 inch ID hose barb. That's good there. We follow this around. Of course, this is your 1/2 inch ID hose. You can find this anywhere. I like to have the braided kind because it gives it a little bit more rigidity if you're dealing with a little higher pressure. And you may very well be dealing with higher pressure. This is the other end that's going to be plugged into this guy here. So you have your 1/2 inch barb there for your 1/2 inch inner diameter hose barb. That goes to a female NPT 1/2 inch. That goes to a male NPT 1/2 inch that turns into a female garden hose connector. Now, before we get to the quick connect up there, I'll tell you, this part exists in one piece. So this is 2 pieces. But this part exists in one piece where you can go from the 1/2 inch hose ID barb to a garden hose connection. Now, that last connection is, if you remember correctly, that's the male garden hose quick connect. Very good. So that's our clean water coming out of the center tap here. We have to get rid of dirty water. This is a concentrate water, they call it. And that just gets spilled out on the ground. So this hose, I have it tucked away up there, but it actually just spills out on the ground. You put it in a marshy area or something like that in their yard, and you're good to go. I have not had anyone complain about that. And anyone who does this type of work ends up doing that. So, if you remember correctly, before we have the outer, not the center tap, but the outer tap, that's 3/4 inch NPT. If you also remember up top, I had this same exact valve, and this is 1/2 inch. So how do I get it to that? There's actually an adapter from male 3/4 inch NPT that turned into a female 1/2 inch NPT. That's how I got it there. Then I go to my 1/2 inch ball valve here. This guy is just, it lets water through there. That's 1/2 inch NPT that goes in there. Male on that side, female on this side. Same thing, 1/2 inch NPT. And just like we had up here on this guy, this is going to be your 1/2 inch NPT, 90 degree, that ends up in 1/2 inch ID hose barb. And again, this water that's coming out the outside here, not the center tap, but the outside, that is trash water. That's going out into the yard, that's going to water someone's lawn. They should be very happy with you. Really. We're in Texas. All lawns need a lot of water. I think you get the picture. Oh, hey. One thing. Don't ever drink the water that comes out of this thing. It's too clean. Okay, so we've come to the last stage of your water filtration system. If you remember, this hose gets plugged into here. We don't want rocks on it. That hose gets plugged into there, water goes through there, circulates in there, comes out this tube, goes out there, and that's the water you're going to be using to clean the windows. So yes, we are that close. So let me walk you through what this does. Or how we're going to put this together. This right here, my favorite thing in the world, you know already. Another quick connect. So this is a female quick connect for garden hose, counterpart of this guy here. So female quick connect here, female garden hose on this end. Then we get down to this. This is actually unnecessary. I may change this out. This can get in the way, and because you know you're turning this sometimes, it gets turned when you're moving around with stuff. This is not necessarily the best idea in the world, unless you like it. I've had no problems with it necessarily, but just you can replace this part for just a straight. And if you replace it, if you're doing that, I would just eliminate this L, this 90 completely. But if you want to keep it, if you want yours to look like this, something like this, what you can do is have, this is a 90 degree male to female. So this side is male, and this is garden hose again. 90 degree male to 90 degree, to female, and this is GHT again, garden hose connection, which is always going to be 3/4 inch for you guys. This right here, again, going into here, you know everything going into these guys is always going to be NPT. Why do they have to make it so hard? Be careful, again, GHT, NPT are not the same thing, and it will mess up your project. Or at least you'll have to buy some new parts. So this right here is male garden hose connection, GHT, male GHT to male 3/4 inch NPT. Again, male GHT to male 3/4 inch NPT in here. Your water circulates around, then we're to the other side. I can't see it. I also can't remember what it is. Okay, we're down to this point here in the home stretch. Again, if you don't want to do this L, this 90 degrees, get rid of it. Just go straight from here to here. The first part of this part here is the opposite of this, or it's the same part, but it's just flipped around. So this is male 3/4 inch NPT in there to male garden hose connection. This is male garden hose to male NPT. This is male NPT to male garden hose. This guy is just, again, your female to male garden hose 90 degree angle there. This guy here, so this is the male part here, this is the female part. This guy here, gonna be your best friend. This is what allows you to connect your 5/16 line, or whatever you choose. So this is just garden hose connection here, normal garden hose connection here, and this is a quick connect for the actual Waterfed hole. So there you have it. This is the basic rundown on everything in this here. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Pretty soon you're gonna have something that looks just like this, or maybe not that looks just like this. That's one other thing I wanted to mention to you. I'm not making videos for how to strap this to anything, how to mount it to anything, because I know each of you is gonna have a very different setup. You know, some of you will want it in your truck on a piece of plywood, some of you are gonna want it on a cart. You're gonna have different price points for your different carts. You find in Home Depot, Lowe's, anything like that, or even on Amazon. So I can't give you every scenario. I do know that if you made it this far though, you can strap it to a cart and you'll make it look good. I trust you. The other thing is, this thing, although I made it on a test, I was really hoping that I could do it, but really doubting myself. I put it together, it works great. It works just as well as the 4-letter branded other one that looks very similar. Super shiny, silver, all that. That I'm not gonna mention the name for. That one. It works just as well as it. It gets down to 0. Anyway, one last thing. I hope you really enjoyed this video, first of all. If you can, there's a like button somewhere. Please hit it. And enjoy. This thing hopefully just saved you like over $1,000. So take the whole team out for ice cream or something on a hot day. We're in Texas, we need ice cream. If you want to send a little ice cream our way. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Hope to speak to you soon. If you have any issues, please let me know. Write it down in the comments below. I'm sure someone else is going to have the same issue as you. I'm going to try to respond personally to any of the issues that you guys have. I will keep, as much as I can, I'll keep updating the list of parts you need, because sometimes suppliers go out. I may have found a better supplier for some of the parts, but you know, sometimes suppliers go out of business or they change their ads and the link goes dead. So if you have any of that, let me know. probably let me know in email form rather than this chat here, because don't want it to get too crowded with that kind of thing. I'll try to keep that updated as I send it out. If you need an updated instruction sheet, which is going to happen from time to time, I'm going to update them, just let me know. You've already watched this video, I've already sent you the first one, so you have the basic idea. But if you need anything, let me know. I'm going to try to make everything super available for you online, though, so you don't have to reach out. You know, some of you have a phone phobia or an email phobia, but I'm going to try to make that as easy as possible for you. Enjoy your day. You know we have super high pressure here. Like, what do you expect me to do with the hose? No, don't turn it up. You saw that, didn't you? Thanks for watching.